Hello and welcome. This is rooflemonger, my friends. Today we have a very special trailer for you because it's Quan Chi and Khameleon, and we are getting our first gameplay look at this character and cameo. And I gotta say, out of the gate, it's pretty impressive to me. I think aesthetically and just a lot of the moves that you're seeing here, this is the best Quan Chi has ever looked. Like, he's always had the skeletons and all that, and hey, that's still here, but he definitely just seems a lot more of a sorcerer, as you can see here with like this eldritch slash cosmic horror kind of stuff going on. So as usual, as you would expect, we're going to do a full trailer breakdown here, both of Quan Chi and Khameleon, because I think Khameleon's looking very interesting, and there might be some gimmicks with her, like say Tremor. She may be another variation cameo. And also, we're going to skip to the end of the trailer here, but hey, here's your first look at Peacemaker, the likeness and voice of John Cena. So they sent me a press release right before making this video, and just so you know, Peacemaker will be coming to Mortal Kombat in February of next year. And as for Quan Chi, he'll be launching December the 14th for Combat Pack owners. So now for the trailer itself. Quan Chi, he hasn't been around in a little bit. He took a break in Mortal Kombat 11. Last game was Mortal Kombat X. And he looks like a very good mishmash of his Mortal Kombat X variations. So this time around, it looks like he gets to have all the cool toys all at once. Doesn't have to have all his various moves gated behind different variations. That's great. Now, for Quan Chi himself, he's definitely been reading some Lovecraft lately. A lot of cosmic horror themes with him, eldritch abominations, basically tentacles as code words for all that kind of stuff. I'm a big fan of this just because it's more sorcerous, right? It's more black magic than the usual skeleton motif. Also, have a look at Khameleon here. You can see her shifting colors, going to blue here, and then going to green like Jade. So she is all three of the Lady Ninjas, and now she's pink. So that classic motif holds true as well. That's fantastic. And here we have our first action sequence of the trailer, and it's already some really good stuff out of the gate for both Quan Chi and Khameleon. So first out, we just get a quick string, and we're using that kind of eldritch tentacle as a launcher for the string. That's cool. And this is very reminiscent of Warlock in Mortal Kombat X variation, where he's like kind of kicking and punching in the portals and knocking people around. Visually alone, this is super impressive and super good looking. I like it a lot. And we can see Khameleon be called as an assist. This is definitely an ambush assist because Quan Chi was already attacking. 2 air size, so at bare minimum, good juggle assist for extra easy damage. So after doing this Melina move, have a look here. She kind of flickers to her base form for a moment and then goes green. So after doing a move, she is now switched into Jade mode. So it looks like her moveset will depend on which color, which ninja she is, right? So Melina would have different moves from Katana, would have different moves than Jade. We'll see more of this as we go on later in the trailer. And going back to the combo, we can see Quan Chi going for his classic Warp Stomp and just putting the boots to Sub-Zero's face. So next up, more Warlock variation inspired teleport kicks, but Khameleon's doing something very important here. So as we saw, she switched from Melina form to Jade form, right? And she's giving Quan Chi the Jade Fireball immunity buff. A very powerful buff to have, but certainly can only be done while she's in Jade form. And now, as you can see, Ice Ball just goes right through Quan Chi. Not armored, not interacting with it, just full-on invincibility like classic Jade. And then eats another classic Warlock kick. So Khameleon comes back. This looks like this is a summon assist, and it's her classic boomerang. And tosses out, comes back, and you may notice here that it's still Jade form, right? So it didn't switch over like it did earlier from Melina to Jade. So it looks like that you, the player, might have some control over when you switch over. It's not necessarily automatic. While being bounced by the boomerang here, we got a big old mega bounce from Quan Chi, launching the enemy. Now, following up here, it does look pretty basic. It looks like a normal just canceled into a special, the special being the big tentacle whip. But I do like the normal of just a skeleton kind of just popping out of the ground and exploding. Like, I did the thing I'm here to do and immediately peace out. I don't know, I just find it kind of funny. Next up, we have Scorpion talking some yang to Quan Chi. Different Scorpion, different Quan Chi, I guess, so that rivalry is extinguished. So here, quick string, and we call in Khameleon as Melina for a quick launcher. This is a summon assist, and she uses the Melina roll. We have an air juggle, which bounces down. Now, Khameleon this time is leaving as Melina, right? Not as Jade, which raises a question which we'll get to in a moment. Another tentacle special move from Quan Chi, And this time here, you see it launches. It's also jump cancelable, so definitely the combo special. Air juggle them back down to the ground, and you can see here he has this classic projectile, the green skull, so that's still here. Now here's the interesting part. Khameleon is now here as Katana. So earlier in the trailer, we saw her start as Melina, then turn to Jade as she was like doing her call out animation, and then we get Jade move next. And then we saw multiple Jade calls back to back. But now we saw a Melina call going directly into a Katana call. So there's a bit of a mystery on how she works now, as far as I can see. Quan Chi retains the classic air fireball as well as good. And then more mystery. So block, great. Go for the cameo throw. And now this time, it's Jade. So it looks like depending on what form Khameleon's in, she'll have unique moves, but also unique throws. We'll see another throw a few moments into the trailer. But yeah, the mechanics of Khameleon are very interesting. She's very much seemingly a variation character like Tremor, in that she has the 3 distinct forms. But how we go between those seems to be the mystery. Now, going back directly to some Quan Chi gameplay, we have another string starter, and then we have an enhanced tentacle here. So this launches as we saw before, except it'll bounce towards you, making very easy juggles. Quan Chi jumps, this could be just like 1-2 or something like that, bounces back down to the ground. Our skeleton pal that we saw earlier, and sending them flying in a 2-hitter. Now, after the knockdown, we have this very interesting piece of business here. So this is an enhanced move, has quite a bit of startup, not fast, although with the knockdown, it was an extended knockdown, so that's the whole reason we're going for it. And it's basically like a Rage Cage style special, not quite a full-on capture state, because as you can see here, looking at Shang Tsung, he can actually move around a little bit. Like he's stuck in place, but he has control of his character, he just can't move. He's in the cage. And here, this is one of the most important parts of the trailer. So this is like echoes of the Sorcerer variation from MKX. So he places basically a buff zone, and now instead of the usual green skull, as you can see here, we get multiple purple skulls. And as we all know, purple is a stronger color than green. Don't come at me, that's just facts. So while you're standing in the buff zone, and as you can see too, he has kind of like purple effects around him to indicate he is in the buff zone. Your stuff just gets better. So instead of 1 projectile, you get 3. Now this effect is very pronounced, as you can see in this sequence here. So while in the buff zone, he goes for an enhanced projectile, and we get this giant chompy purple skull. And not only does it destroy projectiles, it destroys, as you can see here, 3 projectiles before biting into Shang Tsung on the other end of things. Then a few things from here. So this knockdown from the big skull, right, gives him enough time to set up another buff zone. That's great. And the projectile itself is a juggle starter. It teleports the enemy directly to you, and Quan Chi jump kicks him in the face. Still in the buff zone, so another EX projectile into another teleport zone into a juggle. And this just might be his down 2, like his uppercut, right? And if so, that's an inspired uppercut with the skeleton sort of floating up with it. Reminds me of just, you know, fond Quan Chi memories of days past.
Now look at my skeleton!
Wow.
Now, back to the gameplay. Another forward cameo throw. And this time, Khameleon is Katana. So once again, the different variations of Khameleon all have different throws. And then from here, we just go into an absolutely wild sequence with a lot happening in a very short time frame. So this right here. And let's just start with this. So Quan does a quick string and like summons like a nether realm monster as part of the string. That is cool. And then he does a ground skull. Like he shoots his skull into the ground, then comes high from the air. If this is like a zoning option, like if he has regular skull, air skull, and the ability to shoot skulls down from the air, like say Shang's corpse drop in Mortal Kombat 11, that would be amazing. Like I don't play zoners, but I actually liked MK11 Shang. He was actually really fun to play. We'll see, I guess. That's speculation on my behalf. But so enhanced version, and this bounces Sub-Zero. Then we see this. This is nutty. So Bounce calls in an ambush call for Khameleon, and it gives Quan a super jump. Like it's the classic Katana fan lift, but doing it on Quan, and gives them an anime style super jump. Suffice it to say, this is not really something you can normally do in Mortal Kombat, unless you're Jackie in Mortal Kombat 11, which everyone hated. So being able to super jump as like an ambush call? Certainly a lot of potential for combos, obviously, as you can see here in the video, but also potentially for neutral and just all sorts of weird gimmicks. Regardless, we get the big bounce, we get the big combo, rejuggle, and it is Fatal Blow time. So all sorts of creepy crawlies out of the portals for the Fatal Blow start, and Khameleon turns into Melina, Katana, and Jade during the Fatal Blow, which is really cool. Usually the cameo is the least part of any given Fatal Blow, but it's actually quite stylish. And fatalities, you know I can't show those on YouTube, but very reminiscent of The Cell, starring Jennifer Lopez. So as for the trailer, that's the main crux of the trailer, and both Quan Chi and Khameleon both look very, very impressive. Quan basically looks like a supercut of what he was in Mortal Kombat X. A lot of cool Warlock and Sorcerer stuff, and some all new things. No Summoner, but, well, I don't know if you ever played Mortal Kombat X, but we're not doing that again. Summoner Quan Chi is one of the least fun characters to fight in any fighting game in the history of fighting games. We are not going back to that. But Quan still looks very cool, dig it. And Khameleon's a bit of a mystery, so obviously has the 3 forms, has different moves depending on what form you're in, seems to have ambush calls and summon calls for each of the forms, but how she switched between them, that's kind of the question now, isn't it? You would think, oh, if it just rotates, that'd be easy enough, but it doesn't work that way because we saw 2 Jade calls back to back in the trailer. And then we also saw Melina going into Katana and into Jade calls, right? So there's obviously some mechanic we're not just aware of. It could be something as simple as like a button press for all we know. But something definitely is up with Khameleon. But regardless, Khameleon looks to have more moves than the regular cameo. And just like how that makes Tremor very interesting, this makes Khameleon very interesting to me. More moves, more options equal more better as far as I'm concerned. So if you have the combat pack, Quan Chi will drop on December the 14th, so it's not too long from now. We can change, right? And Khameleon, no set date, not dropping exactly with Quan Chi, but probably sometime early January. That makes sense to me. And that's not even an awful release schedule, right? If we do character cameo, character cameo, character cameo, that means there's basically always a new flow of content coming as well, so that's nice. And I believe December 14th is also when Season 3 begins. As per the press release they sent me, that is the season of the Cryomancer, so Sub-Zero themed. Appropriate enough for winter. But yeah, Omni-Man and Tremor were impressive, and Quan Chi and Khameleon are looking impressive. Not much else to say other than good. I like it quite a bit, and look forward to more coverage on both of them, and of course Peacemaker 2 whenever he comes out, on the channel in the future. But until then, that's the end of the video. So thank you very much for watching, hope this video has found you well, and go out and play some Mortal Kombat.